Hey, and welcome. My name is Kendra Johnson. I use she and her pronouns, and I have the awesome honor and privilege of serving as the executive director. I'm delighted to be here today. It's part of my favorite season, both my favorite and my least favorite season. Favorite because it's a lot of work for a lot of good candidates. Least favorite season because there's a lot of ugliness out there. But I'm delighted to be here today with one of our longtime candidates and folks that we support for their good work, Christy Clark. So Christy, would you take a moment and introduce yourself and the seat that you're running for?
Yeah, hi, I'm Christy Clark. I'm running for House District 98, which is in North Mecklenburg County. It is the towns of Davidson, Cornelius, and most of Huntersville. This is my third time running for this seat. I ran in 2018 and won, and then I ran in 2020 and unfortunately did not win my reelection, and am now in it for round 3.
Awesome. Well, we're glad that you are. Can you tell us a little bit about what has motivated you to run again, and what are the issues that call you to public service in this way?
Yeah, after losing in 2020, I took almost all of 2021 off, and I started working as a guest teacher at an elementary school here. And through my experience there, I have been able to see unfold before me what a decade of Republican leadership has done to our public schools and the detrimental impact it's had on families. And that includes not fully funding public education and not paying our educators what they should be paid, but also the impact of not raising the minimum wage when we have folks who have to work 1 and 2 jobs, parents, and they're raising families, and they have young kids, and they have to work 2 jobs, not expanding Medicaid for folks that don't have access to healthcare and they have nowhere to go, and they have to come to a teacher at their school and say, where can I go to get free healthcare? We see that in the mental health situation with many of the families that suffered during the pandemic and could use some assistance and support, and obviously they don't have that right now. And so as I was seeing all these things unfold before me, I realized, that was why I ran for office in the first time in 2018, was to help people. And that has really motivated me and put a fire beneath me for that. But also then we have the Dobbs decision came through this summer, and that really is threatening not just women, but marriage equality and other issues that they have signaled they want to reverse. And so, it has to be, somebody has to be there to defend that right. And I am proud to be the person who has decided to do that.
Thanks so much. I think it's important. You hit on a couple of important themes. I think it's really important to know exactly what our teachers experience in classrooms, to be connected, to connect the dots between the issues. So you talked, I know that one of the reasons that you ran originally was also gun violence in schools. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and what you would like to see us move in, what direction you'd like to see us move in?
Yeah, gun violence prevention is my #1 issue. I've been working in that area since 2013, right after the Sandy Hook shooting. I got involved with Moms Demand Action and have been doing that. I also got to go to Raleigh a bunch of times when I was a volunteer and meet legislators. And boy, do you learn something when you meet legislators for the first time and you see the General Assembly in action and realize it really is the People's Assembly and the People's House, and sometimes the wrong people are there. And so right now, right after the Uvalde shooting, I was sitting at my elementary school on the playground next to a teacher, and we were watching the kids play. And that day at our school, you could feel the weight of that shooting was over us. And everyone was kind of solemn and like just cautious and thoughtful. And we had a police officer in the parking lot, which we never do. And I kind of turned to her and she turned to me, and we said, you know what? We're it. We're the shield between the kids in this school and a shooter, and we wouldn't make it. And I said, well, I guess that's kind of what we're facing, right? We have to defend these kids. And so we kind of knew, like, if a shooter had come at that moment in time, that we would have been the defense between the kids and that person. And so that is a very sobering and powerful realization to have. And as teachers have been having this for a long time now, right? So for me, it was very, very poignant. And that means we have to do whatever we can to keep guns out of the folks' hands who shouldn't have them. That means background checks on every gun sold in North Carolina. That means a safe storage requirement for guns so that when they're stolen out of cars and used in a crime, that they can be tracked to where they came from. That is what is happening every day as folks lose guns to be stolen out of cars. It's like the second most common thing to be stolen after a cell phone. We can have extreme risk protection orders to make sure that folks who are a danger to themselves or others, their guns can be removed from them temporarily while they get the help that they need. We could also strengthen the domestic violence laws in the state around guns and make sure that domestic abusers don't have access to guns and are not legally allowed to obtain one anymore. And so there are just a few of the things, but really just starting with the background check on every gun sold in North Carolina is a great place to start.
Thanks for your comments. And I think just to add a little bit to that, I think what you said about teachers being in the front line and the people who put their bodies literally there to protect children is one of the things that was most disheartening is that I've seen these attacks on teachers and this distrust of teachers and a continued lack of investment in schools and salaries for these folks. So thanks for bringing up those points. I also want to talk, that our mission is to build LGBTQ plus power and advocacy in pursuit of racial and social justice. I know you're an ally to our community. Can you tell us a little bit about why you're an ally and why LGBTQ issues are important to you?
Yeah, well, it goes all the way back to my very first boss that I had right out of college. She was in a relationship with her, she was not a beer spouse back then, so, her partner, and she was probably the best boss I've ever had, and my husband has been my boss. And so I got to know them and got to know what they were experiencing in their lives being a lesbian couple in Southwest Virginia, and that pretty much showed me that, which I already believed anyway, but really firm for me that we need to have equality for our LGBTQ community right away. First, this was 1993, so that was a long, long time ago. And ever since then, I've been an ally on that side. And then a few years ago, my daughter wrote she had to write a biography about herself and draw a picture and tell these different things about herself. Like, I like to play lacrosse. I like to play the flute. I like to read books. And then one of those little things that open, and one of the things that opened said, "And I'm gay." And so that was how she came out to me and her dad. And so that, of course, means that's my daughter. And so I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that she has a safe and bright and wonderful future. And that means not just her, but everybody else as well.
Thanks for sharing that. That's so touching. We're in a moment, I think, where we need our allies more than ever to take up space, to advocate alongside us. And I'm proud to have you in the ring beside us as we fight for our very lives in all of these systems. I want to talk a little bit about how we can support you and your campaign. Tell us what are the ways that we can plug in? What do you need to get across the finish line?
Yeah, right now we are canvassing and phone banking. And so folks can join us at mobilize.us and search for Christy Clark NC and sign up there to join us. We canvass every Saturday and Sunday, and we phone bank every Thursday night. Right now, we're expanding that in the coming weeks. So there'll be lots more opportunities to volunteer with us. And what we know is when you talk one-on-one to a voter on their front porch, that's how you win their vote. And so we need folks to help us do that. And then, of course, it takes a lot of money to run a campaign. Our mail program is launching this week. We will have digital launching next week. And all of these things require funds. And so I don't know if most people know, but like funding that you give to a campaign doesn't go to fancy things like cars and clothes and haircuts. It really goes to mail and digital programs and running software and things like that. And so we need help with that, like that. And so folks can find out a way to contribute at ChristyClarkNC.com and on our Act Blue. And those would be things that would be amazingly helpful to our campaign to help us continue to march forward and help us get across that finish line in November.
Awesome. Is there anything before we wind down that you want the potential voters to know about you and how you work for them before I tell folks how to get engaged with getting all the pro-equality candidates elected?
Yeah, one thing about me is I am a Democrat. I'm a progressive woman. But also I know that not every person in the district is that. And so that means that no matter who comes to me, I read all of their emails. I take all the phone calls and all the meetings, and I help people no matter which side of the aisle they're on or what issue they're having. That's the job of a legislator, is to be a helper and a liaison to get things done and help people overcome whatever obstacles in their way. And that includes folks that are on the other side of the aisle, and that's important to me.
Thanks so much, Christy. So I just want to say that it's always an immense pleasure to talk with you. Best of luck in your campaign. We're going to be working right alongside you to get you elected. And we want to make sure that everyone who's tuning in continues to tune in to our socials. They can follow you on your socials to find out about more pro-equality candidates and to find out more ways to plug in to ensure that we have folks that have our best interests at heart sitting in the NCGA in 2023. Thanks so much and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks so much for the time. I really appreciate your time. Great to see you.